Okay, today we are talking about work orders, also known as service orders in some offices. Ultimately, another chapter in the management system that we built over the past 10, 12 years. But in the property management business, everything is, I don't want to say equally as important, but each part of this system definitely has a significance. We're trying to give a great customer experience or a great customer service. So in residential apartments, work orders are a common theme. They happen. They have to be handled. It is one of the 3 or 4 major components of managing residential real estate, and it has to be handled in a timely, quality-oriented manner. So that does tie into, just like in any business, we depend on our employees so much to deliver what our perception of quality and timeliness is. So once again, we're only as good as our maintenance technicians when it comes to, items such as work orders. So they will start off by coming to management. Management gets the work order through our management system, or it may come through a text or an email or a phone call. All depends on that tenant, on their favorite way of communicating. But if a work order comes in our business, and it is an emergency, that doesn't stay a work order. That is an emergency. We utilize the group text, which we explained in a previous video in the management system. Work order comes in, we feel it's an emergency, it goes out to the group text, basically saying, for example, 1 Jones Street has a leak coming from their living room ceiling. So at that point, everybody on the staff sees that come through the group text. Maintenance manager sees it, identifies it, at that point decides who is in closest proximity to 1 Jones Street so it can be handled quickly. That's an emergency. Other emergencies happen after hours, but that falls into the emergency on-call person, and it is handled similarly just after hours. Normal work orders come through similarly, and they still go through the group text. So if the work order is in a proximity close to where any of our maintenance techs are working, the maintenance manager has the ability to say, wow, we have a guy right next door, so I'll send him over within the next hour and we'll handle that for you. That is a great situation. Once again, stepping back a second, and that is one of the many reasons why we like to cluster our properties in the same vicinities, to be able to do things like that, because they go a long way. Tenant put in a work order, it's not even an emergency, and we're handling it quickly. If it isn't as convenient as that geographically, it goes through our system, goes through the group text. The maintenance manager will note this work order, we'll discuss it with the property manager, and best case scenario, that is scheduled for the next day. And it goes on someone's schedule on that group text. For example, everybody does their end of day group text, check in or check out, however you want to put it, and the maintenance manager now can say, okay, thanks for what you did today, your challenges and what your plan is for the next day, but please start your day at 1 Jones Street because we have a work order there that I'll send to you. We would like to handle that first thing, so we're doing this in a timely manner for the tenant. What we don't do, and it's typically, it gives property managers, it's a stereotypical with property managers where a work order gets put in, we say that we'll handle it, and then it just goes open-ended, no one deals with it, the tenant gets completely blown off, and you wonder why your tenant retention isn't as high as you'd like, because the customer service isn't good. So work orders, when they come in, they just have to be handled immediately in emergencies, but they have to be expedited in a timely manner even for general work orders, because it is a direct reflection of the service that we're offering our tenants. I'll finish up by saying some work orders are addressed. It turns into a partial work order. That partial work order goes back to that group text. So the maintenance manager, the property manager sees that we addressed the work order, it wasn't completely finished, it cannot go open-ended. It stays on our work list, gets addressed the following day or the most convenient time to get back to that tenant's apartment, and then we're able to finalize it, and then 2 or 3 days later, our office will follow up with that tenant, say, hey, we handled that work order from a few days ago. Is everything okay? Is it fixed? Did the maintenance tech leave it a clean workspace? Just to make sure that everything was done cleanly and efficiently and the tenant is satisfied. And then we repeat. You know, that is generally how work orders should be handled. And, you know, we have to do it like that because we're trying to be professionals in the business, and we're trying to hit certain benchmarks on an annual basis when we can say, okay, we have a 70 or a 75% renewal rate. That, in my opinion, is a direct reflection on the service that you're providing. If your work orders aren't being handled and they're going open-ended and tenants are just being blown off, I guarantee you're not going to have a 70 to 75% retention rate. You'll probably be below 50%, which ultimately will majorly affect your bottom line.